This is the Help Me video for option C, Neurobiology and Behaviour, component 3 of your key assessment. So we've got sections of the human brain, and this is AO1, remembering stuff. Identify A, B and C from the diagram above. And it's not, top brain, back brain, bottom brain. You need to use the proper words there. So unforgivable if you don't get those right, I think. Then we have some information about deaf adults and British Sign Language and testing using positron emission tomography, PET. So you should know all about PET scans, and then being able to compare them with MRI scans. Well, even though it's in black and white, you would know how this happens, and how when you're getting the patient to do different things, then you're getting different scan results. In an MRI, you need to think why that wouldn't be the case. So tell us perhaps what each scan does, really briefly, and that would be the first mark. And then actually answering the question with the second mark. I wouldn't use an MRI because of this, this problem if it's not actually doing what we want. So you need to always think with these questions. There's 2 marks available, so I need to say two things. Refer to the image of the PET scan. So you need to go back over the page and start talking about what you can see. You can't just make it up. And your knowledge of the brain. So you're going to relate what's on the diagram to what you know. We're talking about language. Suggest and explain how the PET scan of a deaf person actively using British Sign Language would compare that to that of a hearing person. So you need to sort this, what this question is actually saying. So we're doing 2 jobs. We're suggesting and explaining. And the key bit of information that quite a lot of people have missed is this part here, actively using British Sign Language. So this person cannot hear, but is seeing things and using their hands to convey the language. So that is quite tricky, but you need to sort of go right again. I'm going to put a mark sort of every other line, and you need to talk about these brain regions. So things like mentioning Broca's area, occipital lobe, and that sort of thing. So you're going to talk about these areas and say, well, we're going to get motor cortex, so good auditory cortex. You're going to use these sorts of areas and go, there's going to be more activity, less activity, and why? Because they're using your hands, or seeing things, or can't hear things, and that. So that's the sort of structure to your answer. Suggest 2 medical details that would be needed when interpreting PET scans from patients with hearing problems. So these are kind of controlled variables again. So controlled variables. What would you need to keep the same or bear in mind? Because one deaf person would certainly not be like another deaf person. Again, you're going to have to say 2 things there. Part 4. Explain why PET scans of adults with total hearing loss have revealed activation of regions of the cortex related to hearing. Most of you have correctly identified the area of theory that you're talking about, and then so you've mentioned the right word, and then maybe not really explained it. So again, you need to talk about the parts of the brains that you're interested in, and no auditory stimuli, but then what's going on to compensate for that. Quite tricky, that part. Then we've got the part C, 3-spined stickleback, and we've looked at 12 sticklebacks, and one advantage to male sticklebacks of defending their territory. I think most of you have put that into words there. Okay. Then you've got what is meant by a sign stimulus again. So now you need to just give us that bit of theory. That's fine there, but then you've got to go, okay, there's 3 marks, so I need to bash out 3 things here. So for the first mark we've talked about the sign stimulus. Then we need to identify what it would be for the stickleback. Okay, well that's going to be the second part there. Then we need to explain our answer. So we just need to talk about what's going on, and we could use some of this information there to justify and explain what we're talking about. Then on the last page, so we're calculating the standard deviation. They've given you the equation, and make sure you put it in the box rather than just there. So it actually wants you to put it in the box. The standard deviation for both models was high. Well, I would disagree with that. I think it's quite low. If you look at these, if the mean is 120 and the standard deviation is 7, well, that's all right. If the mean is 60 and the standard deviation is 5 point whatever you calculate it to, then that's reasonably low, and I don't think they overlap. So I would disagree with that. However, so I think if you've actually written down you disagree with that, fair enough. But for 1 mark, assuming it's high, let's go with it. Explain how this could affect your confidence in the conclusion. So if it was high, then would that make you more confident or less confident? And that's where you're going with that.